All right, we are at the top of the hour here, so just wanted to welcome everyone to the presentation. A couple housekeeping notes here. So we've got the Q&A function at the bottom, so please do put your questions in there. The chat function is not active for the session as it's more of a webinar type style. If you have any technical issues, feel free to email our moderator, Matt. He's also able to be reached via the chat channel directly to him, just not the group chat is active. The session is going to be about 30 minutes long. It will be recorded and there will be some time left at the end for your questions. If we aren't able to get to some of your questions, we'll make sure that we follow up after the webinar as well. So with that, I'll introduce myself. I'm Adam Krupp. I lead the product management team here at Texada. Our main speaker today is Court Laslop, who's a product analyst here with Texada. And he leads the analytics initiative. So he's going to be taking us through a little bit of background about it, and some demo capabilities, and talk a little bit about the future capabilities as well. So with that, I will pass it over to Court to lead us through the session.
Sounds good. Morning, everyone. We'll get started here. So a quick little agenda to run down. We're gonna just finish up with the welcome and introductions, and then we'll start to take a look at the overview of what the product is and how it works. We'll dive into a little bit of the architecture and kind of how things are put together and what the tooling looks like. And then I want to show off of some of the pre-built reports, some of the that come with the product as standard. I want to talk a little bit about cubes and data models. I want to show you kind of how that applies to you a little bit, and then we'll kind of summarize and have a few minutes for Q&A. So with that being said, Adam has already introduced us. Like I say, my name is Court Laslop. I'm a product analyst here at Texada, and we will get rolling. So first off, I want to start with, this is one of my favorite quotes from Carly Fiorina. And this kind of summarizes what we're trying to do here. And that is the goal is to turn data into information and information into insight. We know from talking to our customers and from just the markets in general that organizations are moving from relying on intuition and relying on gut decision making, and they're really pushing for data-driven decision making. And so this is why we believe that data analytics is not just a trend, but it's going to be something that's more and more involved in the day-to-day operation of a business, and is a critical factor in maintaining sustained growth and competitive edge. So what we've done here with this product is we've created something that we want that can provide you with tools and especially pre-built data, which allows you to easily develop, modify, and visualize your rental and service specific data in any way that you need. Again, the idea is to assist in making better business decisions and make it easy for you to get to those decisions and do the analysis portion quickly and efficiently. So let's talk a little bit about the architecture and how things are put together. Texada Analytics is built on the Power BI tool set. There's a number of reasons that we'll get into as we go along for why that was done, why that was chosen. Primarily, Power BI, for those who don't know, is a Microsoft product. It is very widely adopted in the market. It's really easy to find resources on and how-tos on how to do things and get support on how to do things. It's easy to find people who know the product very well. And so it was kind of the perfect tool set for us to kind of build our solution around when it came to, how are we going to offer these tools to you? And so what it basically breaks down to is there's a desktop app, which we won't dive into too much here. The desktop app is mainly for developers. So if you were to hire, say, a Power BI specialist to build not just custom reports, but build advanced type reporting, that's something that they would be using. The Power BI service app is it's a cloud-based service that runs on Microsoft 365, and that's more what your admin users and your management users and your general reporting users would be using. So that's what we're going to talk about today and what I'm going to show you. So the Power BI service connects to a gateway server, which sits inside our data centers, and that connects directly to your data. So that's a secure connection. It's all managed managed securely, and that's what really allows the service to get to your data. And so that service provides it out to the cloud, and then the data itself is combined into workspaces, which you'll see here in a minute, um, along with the canned reports and the pre-built reports that make those available to the end users. So let's jump in. I want to show you some of these pre-built reports that we're talking about and kind of walk you through the system. So what you're seeing here is our demo company, which is our demo data site. And this is exactly what you would get out of the box. The views are slightly different because I'm an admin, but all the components that I'm going to show here, you would get at any access level. So let's start with rentals and sales. So we open up the report, and you'll see a number of different tabs and different subreports here on the side. And this is really kind of what comes with the package, is you get a number of these subreports. So we're just going to kind of start at the top. I want to walk through all of these fairly quickly. We're just going to take a couple of minutes to do that. I want to point out a couple of things. So this is an invoice report. We've got the layout for all of these reports is very similar, where you've got your filters on the left, which you can slice and dice, change things around, and then the visualizations in the center and on the right-hand side, which update accordingly depending on how you're setting your filters on the left. Again, this is demo data, so there's take that with a grain of salt, but it does illustrate kind of what I'm trying to show here. And so you get a number of different kinds of visualizations in the center, right? We've got a geographic visualization, which will show you in this instance, where the ship areas of your invoices are, right? So where most of them are occurring and shipping to. Um, and you've got a number of different line charts and different information points. These are all clickable. So you can click in, you can get, list of customers that this applies to, and the rest of the visualizations will update depending on what you click on. So I'm going to roll through these fairly quickly. If you are interested in learning more about, how this report is built and what data it's specifically built off of, that information and documentation is all available through the Texada Help portal. So we'll go a little deeper. This is the invoices breakdown, which does just what it sounds like. It's a deeper dive into some of the information that we were looking at the overview. Again, you've got your filters on the left. You've got a number of visualizations in the center, right? Some similar type stuff because it is dealing with invoices. So you've got, a list of customer and invoice amounts. You've got kind of a graph showing distribution over time of these invoices and based on the customer. We can look by product class description and see kind of the same kind of information and, how much that makes up the total. Rolling along, we have a services breakdown. Again, it's sales and invoices based on services this time instead of products. So we've got different service types here, different descriptions. Again, it's all clickable. We have a list view here this time, and we have overtime bar graphs. Moving along, we've got asset location, right? So this is you have different group descriptions here that you can filter by. And again, these group descriptions are loaded from your SRM environment data. And so depending on how you're configuring and how you're setting up your class descriptions, these are all coming through dynamically. This is all dynamic data, right? So you can select your division, right? You can see what's on hand by division, right? You can see what's on hand by class description, and so on and so forth. Average rental rates, again, kind of does what it says on the label. We have rate descriptions. Again, these are all dynamic filters, so it'll be your rate descriptions that you can filter on. We can select different rate descriptions. And the graphs update and change depending on what those are. And a count of contracts that are based with those. We have average rental rate breakdown, which is the same kind of idea is the invoices breakdown. We've got kind of a header level and then a more detailed level, more detailed drill in. Um, so again, filters, data updates in the middle. You can select class descriptions. You can select a specific class. You can take those out, and the data will update accordingly. And dollar and time utilization, right? This one here, we've got for our aerial access and ladders, we actually have a bit of a graph, a bit of utilization graph. Some of these, like I say, it's demo data, so it's a point in time versus an actual graph. But when you have live data, it tends to work a little bit better. So that's a quick view of the rental information, the rental and sales information. I'm going to just zip back to my workspace here, and I'm going to take a look at the accounting information. Something I'll point out when we're on the screen that we'll talk here about a little bit later is the data models here. So each one of these reporting sets is attached to a specific data model. We'll dig into that here after I go through these, but it's just something I wanted to point out from the screen. All right, so here we have accounting. These ones are fairly basic. We've got accounts receivable, right? Again, we have a bit of a graph, or we would have a bit of a graph if we had a bit more of a robust data set, but we've got, you can see the bar graph here because we've got data in that month only. But we've got a bit of a geographic location that shows you where your accounts receivable are coming from, and then by division breakdown. That's the overview. And we've got a detailed drill in that goes along with that. Right, and again, it's the same as we've kind of seen before. We've got a list of the specific ones and different filters that you can use and choose from. Right, so you can drill into a specific customer here. Very similar for accounts payable. So we won't spend too much time on this, but the same kind of overview idea where you've got your balance owing by vendor instead of by customer this time, and then the geographic location of where those vendors are or where those invoices are coming from, and a breakdown which shows the same basic information just with vendors this time that the receivables did. So those are the accounting ones. And if we flip back really quickly, we'll take a quick zoom through the services. And so these are fairly straightforward, targeted, like I say, at services. So they mostly deal with work orders. And again, very similar. You got your filters on the left, different divisions, and different clickable information in the center. Right. So you have your overview report, and a breakdown report. These can be used as dashboards. They can be used as standalone reports. Right, all depending on how you want to set them up, how you want to use them. And then we have finally the work order versus revenue. Right, again, this is a bit more of a graph. Would be a bit more of a graph if we had a bit more of a robust data set in here. But you get the gist of, you can select different things. It updates the graph accordingly. So that is the North American demo, and I'm going to bring that up because at the moment, if you're a North American customer, you get those reports. If you're an Australian customer, you get a different set of reports. I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute here, but I want to zip through the Australian customer reports very quickly for just in case I'm not sure if we have any Australian customers or anyone from Australia on the call, but we'll just zip through. The reports are slightly different. The data sets are that they're built off of are slightly different, but the basic layout remains the same. Filters on the left and clickable visualizations in the center. Right, so this is a revenue breakdown. Right, and you see, as always, the graphs updating based on what you click on. We have a customer breakdown. Right, and so we have, again, different customers, their total revenue, a bit of a spark line for when that revenue was received, or when the invoices were received. This particular one has drill-ins that you can look at by quarter by mousing over. And then, yeah, again, you can mouse over revenue by year. You can click on these things and it'll update the visualizations accordingly. Taking a look at the product report. This is by your different product lines, your class descriptions. And again, you've got the same kind of format that we saw in customer, where you've got the mouse over drill-in reports and the revenue reports. Accounts receivable is very similar to what we saw before. Again, it's accounts receivable. So we've got, customer, their current amount, and the aging of those accounts here, and then kind of a few visualization representations of that. And for accounts payable, it's very similar. It's the same kind of idea. You've got your visualizations of the aging and then a list as well. So that is what I wanted to zip through when it comes to the pre-built reports. Now I want to talk a little bit about the cubes. So what is a data cube? What is a data cube? What is a data model? Basically, what that is it's the relational data that sits behind the report, right? So those of us who are old report writers know that assembling the data set to be analyzed is 80% of the job. And so what we wanted to do with the Texada Analytics product is to ensure that that we did that heavy lifting. So out of the box, what we provide is a complete data set for you to begin building reports off of. So all of the reports that you saw in the other ones are built off of these different data models. They come standard with the product. And because that relational information is already known by the system, it enables a bunch of different features and functions that we can leverage as part of the Power BI tool set and as part of just knowing the data, right? Because it's specifically tailored to work for equipment and rental and services dealers. So what this does is, by providing this out of the box data to work with, we've tried to remove the need for a detailed data analysis, like the need to hire or have a degree in data science in order to understand this stuff, to be able to, write database queries and that kind of stuff. So it kind of puts the ability back in the end user space for them to easily use to construct their visualizations, right? The data set's already there, we're already ready to go. One thing I want to make on this, or one point I want to make on this note, is that right now we do have a project underway to harmonize and standardize the data model. So you notice, like I said just a minute ago, that Australia has a different data set than North America does. We're actually working at combining those together and standardizing that data set. And so what that's going to do is it's going to allow everyone to have more data. By standardizing that, we're going to loop a bunch of these things that were developed for a specific use case, and we're going to just offer it to everyone. So that relational data, that relationship to that data, the system will understand, and it'll be available to everyone to begin building visualizations off of. So let's flip back to Power BI, and I want to show you a little bit about what that can do. So I'm going to go back to the North American workspace. And I'm going to I'm going to create a new report off of a data model. And this, because we've done this assembly, this is an easy process, right? The system already understands how all of this data fits together, and it already has access to all of these relationships. So it's very simple. All we have to do is go in here. We're going to make a new report. We're going to make this from a published data model. I'm going to pick the services data model. I'm going to auto create my report. I'm going to have a sip of my coffee here. And my report is done. So what we're actually doing here is we're leveraging some of Microsoft's AI that is built into the Power BI product. So because the system understands the data model, it can look at the data and tease out different metrics because it knows roughly what the data means. So I did not tell it to make any of these graphs. This is not pre-built. This is just the the AI that's built into Power BI that's taking a look at this data models that we've built and provided it from Texada, and coming up with what it uh, thinks is a good analysis of this data model. So you see, it's got some work order totals by year and month. It's made a couple of graphs for us, and it's also tried to do a few summaries, a few data summaries based on the data that it found, right? So this is fine and dandy. This is great. And we can do things like, well, I'm not really crazy about that total. Like, I don't really want the historical total. I kind of rather have, this current. So I think I'd rather look at that. Oh, well, there we go. We can switch to that. There's a few other things we can do here. We can show a data table. So let's say, this is great, but I want to see a little bit more, right? I want to see some of the data that this is built off. Well, here's a data table that um, that it's working off of, and then be- because because this isn't, this is close to what I want, but it's not quite all the way there. Well, I've got this relational data model here, right? So I can go and I can pull in other pieces of information that relate to this thing. So let's say I want to know quantity of these things. There we go. I want to know quantity of these things, right? I can put that here. Well, here we go. We've got quantity. We've got a sum of quantity. I'm not really too keen on the date. I can take that out. This is more what I'm looking for, to report to my users. Well, I this is great. I've got this nice, this nice little report here. I've got this nice little table of data, but I want to do some further investigation with this. I want to summarize it. Well, I can always go and export it to Excel and do some analysis there. So there's a number of different things that this data model unlocks as a report builder and as a report customization uh, for you as an end user. So to summarize, um, what we've tried to do with this product is we're really trying to help solve your equipment rental data problems. So what comes out of the box, what we have here is a ready-to-use data model. It's designed specifically for equipment rental businesses. We've got a number of pre-built standard reports that come with it. And then for modifying or creating new visualizations, we've got a no-code tool set that comes like as part of the Power BI tool set that allows you to develop these things. And we've got these custom visualization development tools basically inside the data models that allow you to quickly and easily work with these. So one thing I want to point out that's coming in future that we're looking to work on too is to expand this tool set so that it's not only contained inside the analytics product, but actually embed it throughout the application suite. So what that means is that all of the canned reports that you have in SRM, for example, would be then available to you both inside the analytics product, to be able to look at, but also to be able to modify. So if some of the canned reports, you in SRM, you need another column on, you need um, you need a different visualization, right? Like my senior leadership would rather have a bar graph than a pie chart. Um, that kind of thing is easy for an admin user to do. They can just modify the report existing in SRM. So that's coming. And then vice versa. So you could take those same canned reports that you're using in SRM, you can use those either in the analytics product itself or as a basis for developing more advanced reporting. And so speaking of things that are coming in the future, I want to plug here the ideas portal because we really are collecting information and ideas from our customers, from you, our customers, to try and figure out what other things we can do with this product and what other needs that there are out there. So if you have any ideas, please feel free to put them in the ideas portal. The link is here, and it's part of the overall Texada ideas portal. So you can get to it if you already have access to the Texada portal. You can get to it, access to it there. And please feel free to add ideas, vote on ideas, yeah, and just make suggestions. Every little bit helps. Every little bit allows us to further make the product better, provide more value. So with that, I will stop talking for a minute and turn it over to Adam for a few questions.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Court. We got some questions from the audience here. The first one is around, is Texada Analytics a product I already have access to? Is it a new product? And how do you get how do you get access to it? So I'll answer the first one off the top there. It is a separate product from your normal rental management. It is included in some of the tiers of Texada One, which is our licensing model where you get basically access to most or all of the product suite. In the higher tiers, it's included with that as well. If you do want to get pricing or more details on it, please do reach out to your account executive or just send an email to sales@texadasoftware.com, and we'll make sure that the right person reaches out to you as well to get you access to this. And love seeing so many good questions. Next one up. Yeah, it was around the Australian reports look a little bit different than North American ones, but I think you spoke to that convergence is coming, and that's currently underway. So that should be answered on that side. There's a question. This is pretty specific about a specific report that you showed. So it was dollar and time utilization by class. Is there plans in the future to bring that down to the group level or even the product level for dollar time utilization?
We don't have anything in the roadmap specifically, but that would be a great idea to put in the portal that we can then take further. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We've got one here. So there's a question about being able to pull in different types of data around not only the dollar time utilization that shows revenue, but also some of the costs like maintenance, depreciation in there as well to kind of get a full picture of the piece of equipment or possibly at a group or class level. Is that something that they would be able to build themselves now? Or yeah, do you have any answers around some of those capabilities yet? Or how they may be combined?
As is everyone's favorite business analyst answer, it depends. With all of these reports, the devil is in the details. So depending on which specific maintenance piece you're looking for, some of that is available in the current data model. Some of that would have to be added, and so that would be again something that would go into the ideas portal for future enhancement. But if it's available in the current data model, it's available to be used, right? Everything that's in the data model is available to you as a customer to develop custom visualizations with.
Perfect. Yeah, looks like we've got time for one more question here. Are they able to drill down to the raw data to create their own tables and models?
To a certain extent, yes. You can drill into the raw data that's loaded. That's kind of what I was showing with the table, the data table information. So you can get into some of the underlying components of that. Can you create your own data model? Not based on our data. You can't modify our data model, if that makes sense. But what you can do is, and this would be something that would go into advanced construction, but you can link other data to it, right? So we would have our data model, you would have a data repository that you're using for different business uses that could be attached to our data model in that kind of relational instance, and then you would be able to analyze both sets, if that makes sense. So there is a connection there between your internal data and our data. I don't know if that
Perfect.
completely answers the question, but
yeah, if there's follow-up questions, again, feel free to reach out to your salesperson as well. Seeing as that we're at time, I just want to appreciate everybody for joining us today. Um, just again, mention our user conference coming up in October in San Antonio, Texas. We had a great time last year hosting it in our office and excited to host it in San Antonio this year. So with that, thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you all on our next webinar. Bye, guys.